beautiful people. What's going on with everybody? How's everybody doing? Again, I want to reiterate to you guys, I'm not playing around. I have been on a very intentional wave of blocking negativity and not allowing it into my space. And so today will be no different. I will block and I will rebuke in the name of Jesus. So, I started it off by blocking and rebuking. And so I just want to let everybody know, give everybody a fair warning. I've given my moderators the A-OK to block and rebuke. And so I say again, block and rebuke. All right. So I'm giving my moderators the A-OK. Again, you guys, I'm only going to be on till about 4:45. My baby got gymnastics, so we go into that today. But we got a really great show today. I thought it was a really interesting topic because again, I've actually I did a post on it, and I do that. Sorry, they write. I'm like ADHD with it. What's up, Tasha? What's up, Brian? But again, we blocking and rebuking y'all, like I said, and I'm gonna say this to everybody that's watching. Okay, at the end of the day, I've just found so much peace in my life. And I'm not willing to just give it away. Just not. So I'm excited to come on here with you guys and love on y'all and talk about good conversations. And I see my family, my power up ladies are on here. So I'm excited to have these conversations. I don't care what anybody's saying about me. So I have gotten used to being talked about. So at this point in time, it is nothing new, baby. It's nothing new. And here's the thing. What I've also learned is that it is the price you pay. My pastor calls it the backside of the blessing. The backside of the blessing. So, that's that. So, at the end of the day, again, peace is what gives us, and y'all, the fruit of the spirit is this. Let's just start off there. Okay. Fruits of the spirit is this: love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, and self-control. Galatians 5:22-23. Love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, and self-control. Love, joy, peace, patience, goodness, kindness, faithfulness, and self-control. If someone is not living their lives, if you got somebody in your life right now, okay, that the fruit, they say that they are spiritual and they got a relationship with God, but they are spreading hate, or if they're not being loving, or they're not being forgiving, or they're not being peaceful, if they're not being patient, if they're not being joyful, if they have self-control, if they're not exercising, if you do not see certain fruit in people's life where there is a semblance that you are spending time with your creator, let me tell you, you might need to really look at whether you got to look at the tree. What's the fruit? What's the fruit? All right. So again, that's Galatians 5:22-23. And so I want you guys I'm actually going to do a post on that, but look at people's fruit, y'all. That's like number one red flag. That is like actually I don't even go get into it right now, but we don't get into it. The Bible talks about how to identify false prophets by their fruit. You know a tree by their fruit. And he was talking about at that time how there was people called super apostles and different people in the church. Paul was doing what he was doing, being a writer of almost 2/3 of the New Testament. And he was talking about, listen, they're saying they were actually saying Paul wasn't a man of God because he wasn't a good orator. He just didn't have what the other super apostles had. And he was like, listen, y'all can brag on me, but I'm not, because my best days are as filthy rags before the Lord. That's what Paul was talking about. And he says, listen, if you really want to know what these prophets that are saying that I'm not real, look at their fruit. You know a tree by its fruit, not by its words, by its actions. And its actions will be indicative of the fruit, right? So if I am saying one thing, but I am doing another, that means that I cannot say that I am an apple tree and I'm producing oranges, right? So when you're dealing with people and you are dating people, one of the first things that I will say to anybody is that at the end of the day, what's most important to me is what's up, Gil? But again, we gotta get okay. Let me give Gil a dance. We gotta give Gil a dance because he did his first super chat. You gonna get a dance, Gil. It might not be the dance you want, but it's gonna be the dance you get. But anyway, but to Gil's point is that you know a tree by its fruit, right? We out here and a lot of us be dating people, okay? And they say, "Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this and I'm that, whatever." But if you look at what they actually are doing, how they're posting, what they're saying, they ain't got nothing of what they say that they are. And a lot of y'all, what I don't like about the world today is that somebody said this and it was just so deep to me. It said this. They said that in today's world, that people will believe that a lie without evidence, but won't believe the truth with evidence. They said, I'm gonna say it again, people will be more likely to believe a lie without evidence than the truth with evidence. And I see that every day. People be canceling other people, saying different things about people. And it's like, wow, you have absolutely no evidence today. You just got to have a good story. You have a good story and a convincing person telling it. And they don't even got to be that convincing, y'all. And y'all believe it. That's what I'm saying. We have to be more discerning about the types of things that we're allowing in our ears and allowing us to be able to like make decisions about people, making quick snap judgments about people. I know I used to be very guilty of that, to be honest with you. You know, somebody say, "Oh, well, this person's this way or this person's that way." And I realized like over time, like a lot of times people will make a judgment about somebody without even knowing anything about them. Like their homegirl said he a player, so now everybody thinks he's a player. Or, you know, so and so said that so and so, you know, is a liar or does this or does that, just negative things about people. And they don't have no actual evidence. It's anecdotal, it's experiential. They could have had this bad experience like 10 years ago. And that person will make a judgment on another person's character and will tell somebody else about an experience that someone told them and then walk around and act like it's the truth and ruin people's career, ruin people's reputation off of something they know nothing about. I see it all the time in popular media. And it's a shame to me. They couldn't prove this in court, but yet you guys will be out here. I'm just saying, like people that have, had rape allegations my bad. Ooh, rape allegations or like the situation with the Zach Rudolph case. You'll have no evidence. The guy was actually let go. He was not guilty. But because of what somebody said, not a credible character to begin with, a married woman who was dealing with him and was giving him an ultimatum while she was married to stop messing with other women. Yet, not only did the world believe what she was saying, but he sat in jail for 2 years off of something that wasn't even true. Again, ruining people's career, ruining people's lives, and y'all ain't got no type of evidence. We got to change that, y'all. I don't like that, but that's besides the point. My whole point is this: if you out here dating and you out here in these streets, I don't mind that. We all got different things going on, but at the end of the day, make sure that the way that who that person is lines up with their fruit. Like look at how they're actually acting. If they're saying I'm an entrepreneur, I'm making money, I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I'm this type of person, but you ain't never seen them do anything in the line of work that they said. They ain't doing entrepreneurial nothing. They playing video games, or they're trying to become a rapper, or they're trying to play ball, or whatever that may be. Again, certain dreams that a very small percentage actually get to that level, but they're doing nothing but just talk about it, doing nothing to actually get to their intended goal. You then have to say, there's no fruit here. What am I investing in? Y'all, I'm going to tell y'all. Okay, so I'm going to tell y'all a story. I'm going to be honest. So I dated the guy one time. And he was telling me that he wanted to be a rapper and an actor, right? He was a rapper and an actor, and that's what he was doing. But at the time, he wasn't necessarily like working in the field that he was kind of working in the field, but not really. He was kind of like he was getting little opportunities here and there. But it was like he needed to do more work in certain areas. Like there was, he needed to go to acting classes. He needed to do, go to the studio a little bit more, practice his craft a little bit more. He was always at the studio, but like there was just certain things he was not doing, right? And so at the end of the day, he ends up having a situation where, like, I say to him, like, okay, you don't have any type of consistent employment. And he was like, yes, well, I'm trying to, I feel like I'm too good to work at certain things. And I'm just going to wait until I get into where I want to go. That has never happened. Like it never happened. And so I spent time like seeing what was going on in his life. And he was, continuously saying that he was going to do things, and he was trying to get into this. And I'm not saying that there was no lack of, I feel like, time spent talking about what he wanted to do. And I feel like on some level he had associations that could possibly produce what he wanted to do. But at the end of the day, he really didn't do what he said he was going to do. And so I say that to everybody that's dating. It's like, if you're out here and people are saying certain things, men and women, if you are out here and you're dating and someone is not, the fruit of what they're saying or who they're saying they are is not there, then you need to go ahead and decide to move on and part ways. That's important. I think a lot of times we're so super casual about our dating history and who we decide to lay down with and talk to and spend time with. But you have to be very vigilant. Who you decide to be in a relationship with is one of the most important decisions you could ever make. I know it doesn't seem like that, but it is. And so at the end of the day, if someone is saying like they're not a liar, but you done caught them in 1,000,002 lies, they say that they're, I don't know. They say that they're patient. They say that they're emotionally controlled. They say that they have a job and they ain't leaving to work every day. Like whatever that is, you have to measure somebody by their fruit. Are they really who they say they are? I know a lot of women that get lost in a guy saying that they're a Christian, right? And a guy will say, I'm a Christian guy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I always tell women, like, look for the fruit in someone's life. Yes, someone can say that they have a relationship with God, but if you don't see that manifesting in any type of way to where you can say like, okay, this person is keeping themselves accountable to God. Because a lot of people will say that, but then you don't see any fruit of that in their life. So yeah, pay attention to red flags in a relationship. Pay attention to whether or not they actually are demonstrating with it who they say they are. And the Bible talks about a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. So if someone is like, they're inconsistent, one day they say one thing, one day they say the other thing. One day they say this, one day they say that. You have to also understand, like, okay, that's something I got to pay attention to. If someone's inconsistent, if someone's all over the place, if someone is not, demonstrating certain qualities that you are looking for in a relationship, pay attention to that in the beginning. Don't get so caught up in the fact that, I don't know, he tall, he this, he that, blah, blah. I don't know what you can get caught up in, but don't get so caught up in that you don't see the fruit of who they actually are in their lives. All right. So Patrick says, trust, I've rejected so many beautiful women based upon who they are or how they are. Well, you should, Patrick. I think men should be more choosy, to be honest with you. I think men today are not as choosy as they need to be with who I don't care if it, I'm gonna just leave it there. I think men should be a lot more choosy than they are. Okay. So guys, I want to hear from you guys. I had a video that went out and I talked about different red flags in relationships. So y'all kind of have an idea of what I think is a red flag. But I want somebody on here to tell me. You can put it in the comments because some people don't like going live. They don't like doing the whole live thing. And I understand that. Not everybody wants to go on camera. I get that. And YouTube don't have the filter. So you're less likely to go live on a YouTube platform. But I want to ask guys, and I want to ask women that are on here today, what is a red flag you did not pay enough attention to? What is a red flag that if you could go back and you looked at it, was a red flag that you did not pay attention to that you should have? Let's talk about that because we got there's some obvious red flags, but I'm talking about the less obvious red flags that we don't talk enough about. Because I want somebody to be able to look at this later on and say, well, I learned something from this. I grew from this. Patrick, how is cooking a red flag? Boy, I don't think that's a red flag, but okay, if that's a red flag to you, I can't argue with your red flag. Somebody said, working. I've decided to be single indefinitely. God is working on me for real. Do you really mean that, Tribal? You feel like God is calling you to be single forever? Life with Tasha says anger issues, which I think is really great. Some of us don't realize, like we look at, oh, they're not angry with me, so it's not a problem. No, it's very important how people treat other people. That is like that's a valuable thing to pay attention to. If you want to see how this person treats different people in their lives, depending on where they are with it, right? And I think that we also don't pay enough attention to that, or how this person acts when they're stressed, how this person acts when you don't do what they want you to do. Like, those are important things to pay attention to. People, y'all, I can't say it enough. When someone is stressed, how they treat you, how they talk to you, or how they treat the person that they're stressed with. Maybe it's not you, or someone that is doing something that is not that's not their preference. How they treat that person is so important. How someone responds to conflict is so important. We look over that like, oh, well, they ain't mad at me, so I ain't gonna worry about it. No, you should worry about it, because that might be you one day on the other side of someone's angry outburst. You need to pay attention to those red flags. How does someone manage their emotions? How does someone manage their stress? How does someone manage jealousy? How does someone manage these things? Do they, as soon as you threaten them, they cheat on you? They outsourcing? As soon as they stress, they calling you out your name and being ridiculously disrespectful? Are they someone that you can trust if you was to leave around your homeboys or your homegirls, whether they be trying to talk to your homeboys or homegirls, or whether they would, be bad-mouthing you behind your back? What kind of person are we dealing with? Who they are, their character, that's important. Okay. Trump's one said, for me, it was her manipulation. Her attitude, selfish, narcissistic, disrespectful behavior. That's absolutely important. Selfish, narcissistic. And I think we should break down narcissism, y'all, because we throw out narcissistic a lot. Narcissistic, there's to meet NPD, there are certain qualities you have to have. You don't just, I think we throw out the term narcissist way too much, and it's overused and abused in order to diminish, shame people for making selfish decisions. And not everybody that's selfish is a narcissist. So let's be clear about that. Brian said that he's been isolated from friends. The sassy, beautiful woman. Why is that? Why is that a red flag? Them paraphrasing the Bible, but when asked where it said that, they didn't know. They will manipulate the Bible bits and pieces. Absolutely. That is definitely a red flag. Where you just taking parts of scripture and utilizing it to demonstrate a point, but have absolutely no idea the context behind why it was written. A lot of people out here speaking things about the Bible, like, for example, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. A lot of people say that scripture. They have absolutely no idea what Paul was talking about. Paul was not talking about, hey, I want to run a race and I want to win it. I want to become a world champion, Olympic, whatever. Mind you, that might be your calling in life, but you're applying it in a way that was not that's not his context. When Paul says that, he's talking about that no matter what his situation was, whether he was in need or whether he was in plenty, whether he was in a jail cell or whether he was in a mansion, he understood that no matter what context he was in, he was going to be content because God gave him the strength to be content in all circumstances. He's not talking about applying it to your diet. He's not talking about applying it to making millions of dollars. He's talking about that no matter what my situation is, God has given me the strength to do all things. That's what the context is. But people take scriptures out of passages all the time, and we use it to abuse and put down and make other people feel less than. We don't think about what those contexts were. And so, again, absolutely, Pam, that's something that I really feel strongly about because I think a lot of people are not in church because of people that have never read the Bible. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of people that sit in churches today that have never read the Bible cover to cover or understanding different contexts, different scriptures. I'm not saying you should know every single one, but I am saying that you are reading certain parts of a book, not understanding the entire message of the book, and then you pushing it on other people, making them feel less than for a Bible that you barely understand in its perfect context. So anyway, because God was a loving God. He was he didn't accept everything. Yes, he had different criteria, but he ultimately, throughout the Bible, all he wanted was a relationship with his people. That's what he wanted. And we would turn away every single time. It's a love story about God's love for us. That while we couldn't get it right, he made sacrifices in order for us to be right despite ourselves. That's the Bible. But let me not get into that. That's a whole nother situation. Keeping to the word. Ruth B. Hello. That's one big thing for me, Ruth. Ruth, that's a big thing for your girl. Character, keeping to their word. I am a big thing about a man being a man of his word. I am huge on that. If you say you're going to do it, do it. And I don't want you to say you're going to do it on Monday and then Wednesday you decide you're not going to do it. You know, I'm very big about that. I love seeing a man's character and how he makes decisions and things like that. Like that means a lot more to me than it did before. You know, I didn't really look at character as much as I used as much as I do today. But I see that even with my father and my stepdad, they're men of integrity. I guess I was so spoiled with good dads in my life that I didn't realize how rare their character was. And I see that when like my dad says he's going to do something, I never question it if he's going to do it, if he's going to show up. I know he is. He's always shown up. You know, my stepdad's the same thing. If he says he's going to do something, he's gonna let me know. And if he can't do it, he'll let me know. Like I've been blessed with really great male figures. And that might be part of my detriment. But I have higher standards for character and integrity and being men of your word, and how how a man takes care of a woman, how he shows up in her life. Like those are things that I really look at. Character. Very good, Ruth. Thank you. Behavioral patterns with men. Burton, very good. Burton that's on it. Men, if you dealing with a woman and all she done had is, you know, if the types of relationships that she has, now mind you, if we single, none of our relationships have worked. Every person on here, if we being real, if we single right now, we have been unsuccessful in the dating market. Okay. So that's just what it is. Okay. So I'm going to tell you, I have been unsuccessful. I have not been successful. But what I will say is seeing the dynamic as to the why and the what as it relates to her behavior patterns with men. I think that there's some wisdom in understanding what those things come from. Is every man that they've ever been with crazy? Is every breakup everybody else's fault? Is there a lack of accountability for the part that she played in these relationships? Is she willing to, does she have a terrible relationship with every ex she's ever had? I mean, I think that there's a lot of wisdom in seeing how that works. Are these fast and heavy relationships, and they die quickly, whatever that is. You just got to see how, their patterns with relationships, Um, yeah. So, Pam says this, and I think that this is really good. I want to expound on this though. I want to expound on this. When they turn to alcohol or not when stressed, how someone handles stress is important, period. Whether they turn to a bottle, whether they turn to some sex, whether they turn to some drug, whether they turn to some food, whether they turn to whatever their vice is. We all got vices, y'all. All of us got a vice. So I'm not going to be on here and tell you guys that, oh, when you're stressed and this person's doing this, like, listen, y'all, when I'm stressed, I eat. I'm an eater. Okay? I ain't going to lie to you. I'm the one who's going to go get the extra toasty Cheez-Its with a glass of Menage a Trois wine, and my behind going to sit on the couch, and I'm going to watch one of my favorite little shows that I like to watch. And that might be how I handle stress. I love to eat. Your girl love to eat. It might be my culture. Y'all know that my background or whatever, but that's how I handle stress. I might cry in the moment. I might go and one big thing that I do a lot is I can get really in my feelings, and I'm thinking I'm catastrophic. Catastrophizing is what they call it, catastrophic thinking. I think about all the worst case scenarios, and y'all, I will lock myself in my room. I will cry out to God. And if somebody was in the house, they would be like, is something wrong with her? I will be crying like for real. I'll be screaming. I release it. I just completely let it go. That's how I handle stress. Whether it's eating, whether it's running to God, whether it's running to God and eating. Usually it's two combined. Usually it's the one and the two. Like I just, that's what I do. Or I'll reach out to my prayer circle. There's a group of 4 women that I reach out to, and I'm like, listen, pray for me. And there's women that keep me spiritually accountable for my actions, and I talk to them about it, or whatever, or my therapist. Again, you want to know, does someone have A, healthy coping mechanisms, and B, whatever those are, whatever that thing is, can you handle it? Because a lot of times we go into relationships expecting somebody to change, and that's not the way to go about it. That's not the way to go about it. Oh, well, if you change this, then we could be together. It's like, no, I've always been this way. And if I've always been this way and I haven't seen this to be a problem for myself, you're the only person that has an issue with it. My family's okay with it. My job is okay with it. My friends are okay with it. But you walk in my life and you're the only one okay with it, not okay with it. That's going to be a challenge. People have to identify for themselves what those issues are. And if you are at a place where you're with someone and who they are or what they do is not satisfactory to you, and you're like, well, this got to change. Well, there's two things that can happen. There's three things that can happen. They change, which they may not. You change, or the situation changes. What I think is very damaging about this, and I want to say this for real, is that a lot of us be coming out with some empty threats. I don't like that. That's one thing. That's a red flag to me when somebody tries to threaten me into compliance. Y'all, I am not the one to threaten. I'm not. And listen, ladies, we are the ones that we be threatening. We gonna leave, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. And guess what? Y'all ain't going nowhere. Y'all be talking up a storm. Y'all be saying a whole bunch of nothing, threatening men into compliance, when in all actuality, yo behind ain't going nowhere. And guess what? That guy knows that you ain't going nowhere. So my whole thing to women today is that if you aren't going to do it, don't threaten it. If you are not willing to move on what you say you're going to do, then don't do it. I know that there's been times in my life where I've been guilty of that same thing. And I have had a therapist sit down with me and say, Sam, you better not say it unless you go and do it. And I had to adopt that philosophy in my life. I had to say, I'm not going to say that I'm doing this unless I'm doing it. I'm not going to allow myself to talk and bark and try to get you to do certain things. Nah, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And a lot of women out here that you catch a man cheating, I'm out. I'm done. Forget this. Bump. I'm over it. I'm out. You can't. I can't. You do. I do. Bye-bye. We do all that. We give them all of that, right? But we may leave for 3 days. We may leave for a weekend. We may leave for a week. For whatever, whether it's cheating, whether he disrespects you, whether he talks to you outside the side of his neck, whether it's a drug situation, I don't know what it is. We be popping, and then guess what? There's no And listen, I'm not just saying women do that. I think women most commonly do that. But then there's men that do the same thing. Oh, go ahead, leave then. I want you can't handle this. Get out then. You ain't got to deal with this. You ain't got to do this. You ain't got to be here. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to get somebody else to do it. I'm going to get another female that can rub my back and deal with my stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then you move on that. You move on that threat. And they're like, oh, no. I didn't mean it. I just said it. I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it at all. No, don't threaten nothing you don't mean. Don't put your little, don't you, what do they say? Don't put your mouth up to doing or paying for something that you don't have the money for. I forgot. There's a real thing, but anyway, besides, sorry. Yeah, I just went off on a tangent, but that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth. That's the truth. Be about a tough pill to swallow. It's the truth. It's the truth. Be about it. Be about it. Marry your word. The thing about people today, y'all, we do a lot of talking. We do a whole lot of talking. There's not a lot of people out here that's really about what they talking about. A lot of people you be complaining. You'll be saying, oh, like, I can't stand this job. You know what? As soon as I get an opportunity to leave it, I'm gonna be out. Blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I can't stand this girl. You know what? The next time she asks me something, I got something for her. Or my man, oh, if he do this again, I'm out. It's over with. We say a lot of stuff, but we ain't about none of it. We ain't about none of it. And yes, that is not grammatically correct. Listen, I'm from New Jersey by way of Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta for a long time, so I'm country. The reality of it is that at the end of the day, don't write a check you can't cash. Okay? Don't write a check you can't cash. Okay? I like that. I like that. Because a lot of us, somebody said Canadian in Canada is none of it. None of it. I don't know what that is, but I think that the reality of it is we can't do not if you there are certain things in your relationship you can't tolerate. And you know long term you can't tolerate it. Don't waste your own time and don't waste somebody else's time. Just don't do it. What's the point? That's the thing that sometimes I look at, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, oh, well, I'm dating them. I really don't like they do this and do that. I don't think I can deal with this, that, and the third, but I'm going to stay with them. For what? For what? We wasting time. If there are things you already know in the dating phase that are not something that you could commit to long term, like you can't say I do today because of certain things, then why are you wasting time? Why? Time is of the essence. That's the only thing that we have we can't get more of. And I can't understand, in my opinion, why people waste time. If somebody today, if you are dating someone, you haven't married anyone, and there are some things that you see right now that you can't commit to long term, why hold on, keep that person captive and you captive to a relationship you can't even see yourself long term? For what? Oh, that's a good one, Travel. That's a good one, Travel. Hey, Robert, what's going on? But that's just what I think. If you see red flags, if you see certain behaviors and things that you cannot get with or you can't, they're already getting to you, it does not get better with marriage. It gets worse. It doesn't Marriage don't make nothing better. It just highlights what's already there. It makes what's bad look worse. It's not something that makes things better. So if you already are dealing with things that you can't deal with, then what are you doing? You're wasting your own time. You're breaking your own heart. For what? What are we wasting time for? You know? All right, guys, there's a question that Tribal has, and I think it's a great question. I'm going to ask it. I don't know if anybody on here can answer it, but Tribal wants to know, Tribal, what's your picture of? Oh, I don't know what that is. Okay. He says, question for the fellas. Can you know you will spend your life with someone on the first date? Fellas, can you know you will spend your life with someone on the first date? Guys in the chat, can y'all answer that question for Tribal? Do y'all, right now, if you were to sit on the first date, um, Jason says, which I think is a great answer, I would say to Tribal that you can see signs that you might want to on the first date, but not entirely know for certain. Um, no, I'm seeing a lot of no's. No, heck nah, no, takes more. Patrick says dating is a myth. Robert says heck no. Adrian says one day at a time. No, I don't know. It depends. People fake a lot on the first date. No, I know she got potential, but you won't know everything on no first date. No, remember trees and fruits. Absolutely. The masks are usually too thick. Third date, the first can be a gaslight. In movies, maybe sounds good, but nah. Remember trees and fruits. So no, I'll accept that answer. You guys, again, I don't think you can know. I think you can say, oh, this might be something. You might say, oh, that's a vibe. I can feel that, I don't know if you can really legitimately. I've heard people say that they knew on the first date. I'm very hesitant to say that because you can, especially women. Women, we can't say that. We too emotional to be saying that. I mean, I'm not saying that again. Their studies have shown that men and women are emotional. We're both emotional at the same levels, but men compartmentalize it differently than women do. Okay, you're right. But I'm saying that we are socialized to be so emotionally led. We are going to emotionally make that decision based upon certain variables, right? So a woman's gonna be like, "Oh, he fine. He got this. He got that. Oh, that's my husband." We not thinking like real logical core value type situations. We talk about like he fine, he got a job, he seems stable. That's my man right there. Or if you haven't dated in a while, let's say that biological clock is ticking. You're gonna make something into something that ain't something just because you want something. And if you ask me to do that again, I don't even know how I said that, but I said it and I said it right the first time. That was great. Um, I think I agree with that, Tribal. I think the most you can get is um, the most, you get is the potential for a potential long-term relationship, not marriage. Agree. I agree. So a single man says this: one of the biggest red flags is entitlement. Can you expound on that? A single man? Can you expound on that? I just want to know what that means. When you say entitlement, what are you referring to? Yeah, God didn't. Yeah, you're right. God didn't build the world. So do you think, Burton, if God took 7 days to build the world, does that mean you can know in 7 days? I want to see what a single man says about entitlement. Yeah, Robert says, in reference to what we talked about before, we started with a good we started with a good first date. Now we don't even talk. You ain't lying. Well, here's the thing, Robert. I've had a lot of great conversations with people. That's part of the reason why I did the stream about men not being able to relate to women in a where women were saying that, or there were some women. I'm not saying all women. There were some women saying that men can't have deep intellectual conversations with um they're not able to. They're not capable of that. And I said that that's absolutely false because I've definitely had some really deep conversations with men. I can't. I mean, every I would say most men that I've ever dated or have been interested in, they all have had the capacity to do that. Because I feel like I'm deep. I need deep. I done been through too much to be with somebody who's not deep. So to say that was a very unfair statement. But I've had some amazing conversations with people, right? And that it don't go no further than that. It's like, oh, we vibe, it was cool. But yeah, no, that didn't work out. I don't know. It didn't go no further than that. So very true, Robert. Very true. Bernard says that his top qualifications for women is feminine, friendly, fit, fashionable, fine, and filled with the spirit. Wow. Y'all see that? He said feminine, friendly, fit, fashionable, fine, and filled with the spirit. Well, Bernard, I didn't meet your top qualifications already. I am not fashionable. I am not fashionable at all. Dang. But if you like fashionable, then that's it. That's it. But your girl ain't fashionable. That's for sure. One thing's for certain. I am very, very lax when it comes to fashion. Um okay, Craig Smith asked me, and again, we gonna end here in a few minutes because I gotta run. I gotta go get my baby girl and take her to gymnastics. Love your shirt. It's a peach or pink. I would say it's like a coral. It might look different on camera, but it's a coral, like a peach, more on the peach line than pink, or maybe coral pink. I don't know, but it's like a coral. That's what it's supposed to be. Do I have a checklist for my future husband? No. I have certain things I need. Like I don't apologize for my makeup anymore. Like if I there's certain things that I now know that I need, right? Let me just stop there. Like I know that there are just certain qualities I need. But I don't have like a checklist. I used to have a checklist. In fact, years ago I had a checklist. But I realized that, I'm short-sighted. I do not know what's in my best interest. Like I don't. I know what in my best interest today, or I think I know what my best interest is today. But I only know for today because I'm only here, right? But I now like have surrendered my list and like the checklist that I used to have. I've like literally like thrown it out and surrendered it to God. I'm like, God, you know what I need. I don't know what I need. Clearly, I haven't been the best picker, right? I haven't been the best partner and I haven't been the best picker. So I've really said to myself and surrender to God, like, hey, God, you know what I need. I know what I'm attracted to. I have a very particular attraction to certain men. But I don't know. I have really left that up to God. I'm like, God, as long as you make me attracted to him, you can make it happen. That's how I look at it. So I've left it. I really surrendered that aspect of my life to God. I don't have a checklist like that no more. Um So I've heard about the sapio thing before, and y'all, if you've ever heard of sapio, it's where they're more attracted to a woman's mental or a person's mental than they are to their physical. They need that mental connection. I actually have a friend, Lateris. He says that all the time. Like he's very much attracted to the mental. Like he needs that. So, um, so he has that. He always talks about how that is. Um, Yeah. Give yourself more credit. Yep, Sam was into fun guys. I know I wasn't into fun guys. No, I like me. I love. There's certain things that I like. I like charismatic. I like handsome, tall guys. You know what I'm saying? Like not tall, tall. They ain't got to be like giants. But I like a man that's taller than me or whatever. Um, I like charismatic. I like ambitious. I like somebody who's opinionated. I like somebody who has an understanding of God, a God set, God understanding, God compass, if you will. I like a man that is a hardworking man. I like a man that's a father figure. He has that father thing going with him. Like I really do like that. I like that father trait, fatherliness. I don't know what you call it. But I just like certain things. There's certain things I like. Men, I like certain things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I've made great decisions. I may have I'm not, I don't, I'm trying to say this the best way I know how to say it. I think that I have gotten to a place where I've come to the end of myself where I say, like, God, like, what do you want for me? Like, I know that God has a really amazing plan for me. And yes, there are certain guys that I like, but does that mean that they were like the best thing for me? Probably not. So that's that. A natural look is more appealing. I can't stand worldly looking females now. Well, like, what's worldly looking mean? I don't know what that means. Isn't that the same as saying a woman's weight is an issue? I look, the way I look at it would keep it pushing, and this is my perspective, and I'm gonna end on this perspective. I'm gonna end on this perspective. This is my perspective. Everybody got preferences. Okay, even Samson in the Bible, y'all. And I went Bible today, but that's just it is what it is. Y'all know I'm a church girl. I like Jesus. I love Jesus. I like Jesus. I love Jesus. I love me some. I love it. I love my spirituality, and so this is what I'm talking about. Samson's attraction to the Philistine women was innate. He created him with that specific attraction for a purpose. I think that God intentionally creates certain attractions. There's a reason for why you are attracted to what you are attracted to. And for me, I think that a lot of times in our society, we shame people into wanting us because we want to be everybody's preference. Here's the thing, I don't need to be everybody's preference, and everybody ain't my preference. The reality of it all is that you should not apologize for what your preference is. If you prefer or are attracted to a smaller woman, that's as a man, that's what you're attracted to. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want somebody who's in shape and that's what you desire, there's nothing wrong with that. My thought process is, if there is something that you want that you are not, there needs to be an evaluation within self. If I want this really fit in shape woman, but I am not fit in shape or anywhere near it, then there's a part of me that has to realize what I am desiring. I can't say I want 1,000,001 characteristics, but at the end of the day, I am not striving, nor am I trying to emulate what I say that I want. I'm super, super picky about who I want to be with. But then but a man would have to not be picky to be with me. That's not wisdom. That's not exercising. That's not thinking about this in a very clear fashion. Okay. So the reality of it all, in my perspective, is that, hey, if you like what you like what you like, but at least put yourself in the same vein as what you would like. Be realistic about what you like. If I'm saying I only want to deal with this type of guy, but that's just not realistic for me, then I'm setting myself up for failure, and vice versa with men. So you just have to, I don't think that there's anything that is wrong about your attraction. It's just about being realistic. It's just about being honest with yourself. It's just about those things that matter. So to me, when women say, oh, well, he should like bigger women, or he should like this type of woman, or he should like that type of woman, or he should like a woman with kids, or he should like a woman in her 30s. He don't have to. He may not like it. And that's okay. There's somebody else that will. I don't have scarcity mindset. If you ain't it, somebody else is. That's just the God I serve. He's a God of surplus, not enough. So to me, I'm not looking at it like that. If you didn't work, something else will. You didn't treat me right, somebody else will. Like, that's how I look at it. I don't look at it from that perspective. And so, again, I think a lot of times we take it personal when we look at it from scarcity mindset. And I would advise us not to. Look at it from the idea of, okay, if this is not the situation for me, I'm not going to sit in it and row this boat knowing it ain't going nowhere. And I'm not going to make somebody feel bad about their preferences, what they decide that they want to end up being with. For what? Why am I going to do that? If a man likes what he likes, that may be innate. That may be, God may be using his attraction for a greater purpose. And K-Don, to your point about Samson, yes, Samson ended up dying. But what did Samson do? Samson was sent here to be a thorn in the side of the Philistines. If you read the chapter, that's what he was born to do. The Israelites were being persecuted by the Philistines, and he was born to be a thorn in their side. Did he die making that purpose? Did he actually fulfill what he was here to do? Yes. He was a thorn in their side. They spent his entire life trying to get him. And in the end, he ended up taking everybody out with him. So I would argue that even though he went a whole other way, and he fell, he kind of wasn't wise about certain things, he still accomplished his purpose. God still used him to be uniquely attracted to what he was sent really to be a thorn in their side. That's what he was meant. That was what he was meant to do. That's the story. Of course, it didn't look like the way he wanted it to look. But once he surrendered to God and kind of had that moment, he accomplished his purpose. He accomplished his purpose. So I think God works within our attractions. I think God will make us attracted to what he wants us to be attracted to. He's the God of the universe. Why wouldn't he? And so at the end of the day, I think that yeah, I mean, y'all, that's why it's important to understand the whole story and the context of it. So I say that to say that we all have our preferences, and and we don't know why we have those preferences. And sometimes we apologize for those things and try to assimilate or make them look like everybody else's. And that's not what we're created to do. Maybe we're created to like what we like for a reason. Maybe there's a purpose behind it. And maybe I shouldn't be trying so hard to make everybody okay with what I like, where I could just surrender to whatever God created me to do and whatever God created me to like. Maybe I'd get further faster doing it his way than mine. And that's where I'm at. Maybe I'll get further faster doing it his way versus mine. Anyway, y'all, it's been a great show. Thank you guys for joining us today. We had some really great commentary. I hope you guys watch it all the way back. Please hit the like button. I also want to thank everybody for the support that you guys give me every single week. We have shows on Wednesday and Thursday, so I don't want you guys at all to miss a show. We be trying to come to you with some real content, okay? So I don't want you to miss a thing. So I'll leave you with what I will always say at the end of my episodes. Trust God, love people, chase purpose. All right, family. I'll see you guys soon.